It's Friday night. Oh, yes, it is. Strictly Sports. Hello, friends. It's Anthony Fleur here with you for another edition of Strictly Sports on this red hot night here in East Providence, Rhode Island. And, well, let's just say it's not really a red hot time right now when it comes to what's going on in Boston right now. I mean, who would have imagined what's going on down there right now? And well, it's not on the docket, but if it was, I'm sure Michael Bullock would probably be channeling his inner EDP 445 right now, because I mean, goodness gracious, what's happening right now. But it is what it is. But nonetheless, we got to get to.
It's just fucking embarrassing.
I know, and Bullock called me up earlier this afternoon, and we vented about a situation which we're not going to get into here. But if it was on the docket, trust me, we would have gone off on that too. But let's be realistic. It's a classic case of crazy from the heat, I guess. So, it is what it is. So, we'll see what happens. I mean, it's far from over, but it may be over tonight. But there's another day. So just excuse me for a minute. I'm getting a text. Okay. So. All right, no problem. Just got a text message. So, okay, so we're ready to go here on this edition of Strictly Sports. Here, we're going to talk about Aaron Hernandez. His charges have been vacated. That's something I've been wanting to get into for a while. I'm glad it was put on the docket for tonight. Jeurys Familia. No, he hasn't been suspended again, but it's a serious issue with him. He's on the disabled list due to a blood clot. Bryce Harper signing a new extension with the Nationals, $23 million worth. And then MF will give us his recap of UFC 211, that loaded show from last Saturday night. An early thought on John Bones Jones against Daniel Cormier. And then we will have our Major League Baseball power rankings. So hope we're all staying cool out there. So with all that being said, you thought it was hot outside. It's about to get even hotter in here. So with all that being said, let's dive on into this newest installment of Strictly Sports. And we're going to start off with Aaron Hernandez. His charges were dropped in the wake of his in the wake of his suicide death from last month. And we're going to get into that right now. And here's the scoop. Aaron Hernandez had his murder conviction vacated by a judge in Massachusetts last Tuesday. An expected move after the former New England Patriots tight end was found hanged in his prison cell last month. Judge Susan Garsh, a justice of the Superior Court in Bristol County, in her ruling cited, just give me a minute while I take care of this pop-up. Okay. Judge Susan Garsh, a justice of the Superior Court in Bristol County, in her ruling cited long-standing precedent when it came to vacating the convictions of defendants who have pending appeals. In the interest of justice, the court has no choice but to vacate Hernandez's conviction and dismissing the charges against him, Garsh said. Hernandez was convicted of first-degree murder in 2015. And in 2015, in the death 2 years prior of Odin Lloyd, a semi-pro football player who had dated the sister of Hernandez's fiance. Prosecutors argued that by dismissing the conviction, the court would reward Hernandez for his conscious, deliberate, and voluntary act of killing himself. Hernandez, age 27, was found hanged by a bedsheet inside his cell at the Souza Baranowski Correctional Center in Shirley, Massachusetts on April 19th. The court cannot know why Hernandez chose to end his life, Judge Garsh said, and declines to infer an intent by Hernandez to relinquish his appellate rights or intended to interfere with the course of justice from his suicide, a tragic act that may have complex and myriad causes. Garcia's ruling could impact Hernandez's estate and the wrongful death lawsuit Lloyd's family is pursuing. The Patriots didn't pay the final $6 million in guaranteed money under his contract, a decision made after Hernandez was arrested in 2013. Massachusetts School of Law Dean and President Michael Coyne told USA Today Sports that Hernandez's estate, which is worth nothing currently, according to court records, could potentially seek that money as a result of Tuesday's decision. Coyne also said an expungement of a conviction could make it more difficult for Lloyd's family to prevail in civil court. There doesn't need to be a conviction. However, to win a wrongful death lawsuit, and the O.J. Simpson is best example of that. Simpson was acquitted of double murder, but a jury later found out liable for the deaths of Nicole Brown Simpson and Ronald Goldman and ordered Simpson to pay millions in punitive damages. Simpson's case also shows that no matter what the end result of a criminal murder case is, it doesn't also sway public opinion. In our book, he's guilty, and he's going to always be guilty, Ursula Ward, the mother of Onan Lloyd, told reporters after the hearing. So that's the scoop right there. So thoughts on this? Well, I'm glad it starts with me because I have a lot to say about this. I don't know who in the right mind would make a ruling like that. I mean, that is the most asinine and blasphemed ruling I've heard in a long time. And quite frankly, I mean, I just don't know. It's but you know, it's I can't argue it, even though I really would have loved to have been a fly on that wall. And I mean, Onan Lloyd's mother's right. He's always going to be guilty about it. And I 100% disagree with this ruling. I think it was, like I said, an asinine and ridiculous ruling and absolute blasphemy. But, you know, as we always say, it is what it is. And, you know, I can't really argue a judge's ruling. I mean, in a sense, it goes back to the point where he was only charged. But, you know, it's all there is to say on that. And the key here is when a defendant is no longer able to assist with his appeal, the law says the conviction should be vacated. And it goes back to the point where he was only charged. And the death of a defendant pending his appeal has constantly been held to abate the prosecution. And this is hardly the first high-profile case in Massachusetts where a conviction was vacated in this manner. Let's go back to 1991 when defrocked Roman Catholic priest John Geoghegan was found guilty of child molestation in 1991, was killed in prison in 2003, and it led the state's appeals court to vacate his conviction later that year. Like Hernandez, Geoghegan had appealed the conviction. More than 150 people accused Geoghegan of sexual abuse, although the statute of limitation laws at the time hampered prosecutors' efforts to pursue more charges. It's as though the reporting of Father John J. Geoghegan's sexual abuse, his trial, and the jury decision never existed. And legislators in Massachusetts have made attempts over the years to close the loophole where death leads to expungement in a case under appeal. So if that's not an example, I don't know what is. So, I mean, it's a load of crap. He's still a murderer. Appeal process should be, I don't know what to say about that. I mean, they can say whatever they want, you know, but, I mean, so that means his estate is also judgment proof against his victims. Same thing happened during the Enron debacle. The ex-CEO committed suicide, and therefore his assets couldn't be touched. there should be a federal law that death by suicide represents a choice to avoid participation in the consequences of the outcome. Therefore, suicide should be considered a plea of guilty to current charges. So, I mean, what else do I have to say about it? I mean, therefore, suicide should be considered a plea of guilty to current charges, and they would enable victims to obtain the compensation they deserve. And so, I mean, I don't know. I mean, so the murder is vacated. Does that mean that the guy he killed is no longer dead? Jesus. So, man was convicted of murder, cowardly took an easy way out. So, I don't know. I mean, I could channel my inner Michael Fletcher, you know, my inner Law and Order on this. And it's a legal trick. It was a legal trick to protect Hernandez's estate from fine and civil lawsuits in the murder. On one hand, it seems like a fairly dirty legal tactic since he was already convicted. But on the other hand, it encourages people to remove themselves from the penal system and ends costly appeals and imprisonment. I'm kind of torn between good riddance and WTF. Seriously? So, I don't know. So, you know, I honestly don't want to go into any further detail on this, but I'm glad I got that off my chest. So that felt good. And if anybody wants to debate me on it, go right ahead. You want to take the gloves off? Let's take the gloves off. Michael Fletcher, you want to take the gloves off? Let's go.
I'm dropping them. Unfortunately, in this situation, the law is the law. Yes, he might have been a murderer, but under appeals process, you're still innocent until proven guilty. And after all happened about the double murder, that really makes me wonder if he actually did commit the murder of Odin Lloyd. After what I heard from a couple of people that knew about the case, that sat in that trial during everything that happened, it sounds like it was a witch hunt. It sounds like it was actually not real. That, you know, that it was a lack of a defense attorney by dropping the ball when it was really needed. And I think that if there was an appeal with Jose Baez there, that he was going to get off and he was going to be found not guilty of the murder of Odin Lloyd. So I still believe in my mind Aaron Hernandez was murdered in jail and that the state of Massachusetts is covering up because of it. And Anthony Florio, for you to say all the stuff that you said, that it was asinine and everything else, yes, it is asinine. Yes, it is unbelievable. Yes, it was despicable and everything else. That something like this for happen, and yes, I understand about Odin Lloyd's family, and I feel so sorry about them. And, you know, that probably justice will not be served in this instance because of what happened. But at the end of the day, anybody who thinks that this was legal or a ploy or something like that, I don't think so. There has to be more than what meets the eye here. And think about this. We never saw once the body of Aaron Hernandez at all since that day that he died. And all the stuff about that, oh, he had scripture wrote on the forehead. Then there was about that it was a legit suicide by a coroner's office. I don't believe it. I don't believe it 1 second, because the state of Massachusetts is just as crooked as the federal system of the United States of America. And I'm going to go as far to say this. Just like the O.J. Simpson, just like Casey Anthony, just like Amber Knox, just like any other system that has happened in this country where we believe that guilty people were found innocent, This is the same situation that we have right here, right now, in this part of the country. And you want me to think for one goddamn second that I'm going to sit here and then listen to your jabber, Anthony Florio, and not get fired up about this? You damn right I'm going to drop the gloves, and I'm dropping them on you right now. What are you going to say about any other of the defense that I just brought right
He's
now?
a murderer, damn it!
Say what, Michael Bullock?
He's a murderer.
Eyes. But how does that make you?
I don't care. It's my opinion. I'm sticking to it, damn it.
Yeah, but in your eyes, he is. But under the federal system, what if he wasn't? What if this? Because number one, where's the murder weapon? Huh? Where's the murder weapon? Number two, what was that? All that circumstantial evidence about the camera and the footage? Where? Give me any example that you believe that he's a murderer. Give me one good reason. Anything.
It's plain and simple. He's a murderer. I don't care what the evidence is. You can just see it in his eyes.
No. Michael Bullock, you're bullshitting right now. That's bull crap. That is absolute. No, that's bull crap. That's bull crap. Because if you can't give me a valid reason why this man is guilty, then you got no case whatsoever. None. You can't just say, in a public opinion, oh, he's guilty. All right, if you're guilty, what's the facts? You need facts. And there's none. There was none. It was all circumstantial evidence. That's what I'm trying to tell you. It was circumstantial. There was no legit thing. Where's the murder weapon? Where's all the other stuff that you were talking about? There's nothing. I'm done. Bullock, if you want to jump, go. I don't give a crap anymore.
No freaking way. I'm done with this nonsense here. I'm done.
All right. Okay. So that's that. So okay. So
dude, you wanted the gloves to drop, but we dropped them all right. So much so, I think Bullock bailed out.
all right. So so there's that. So okay. Well, I guess there's nothing left to say here except crazy from the heat. Simple as that. So all right. So yeah, we are that's the end of it. So oh boy, I don't know how we can follow that. So well, unfortunately, we do have to get into a more serious issue. Well, Jeurys Familia, the controversial closer of the New York Mets, who has been suspended a few times because of, PEDs and the whole 9 yards. Well, he's not doing too good right now. It's a blood clot. He's got a blood clot in his shoulder. He's been diagnosed with an arterial clot in his right shoulder, according to Anthony DiComo of MLB.com, who also reported that the pitcher is going to St. Louis to undergo further testing. DiComo added that the Mets announced surgery is a possibility. Joel Sherman of the New York Post reported the Mets aren't sure how long Familia could be out. Just a moment, I'm just getting a Facebook message here. Oh, wow. Michael Bullock has left the show. All right, just hang on one moment here. I'm getting a Facebook message from Michael Bullock here. Just bear with me. All right. All right, just bear with me for 1 minute. Yeah. Michael Bullock's night is over. So, um, well, anything can and will happen at any given time. Um, I don't think there's nothing I can do. So, um, you know, I mean, we've gone on, we've gone off on these rants, but you know, I had no idea it was going to get that heated. I mean, well, in defense, I mean, it's it's been very hot here in
No,
America.
Anthony, I'm sorry. That's unforgivable. I'm sorry. I understand if we're heated, we're debating everything else. That's fine. But to walk off the show, unprofessional. I'm sorry. I can't because I understand it's our opinions. And a lot of the times we value our own opinions. No matter if it's right or if it's wrong, we value our own opinions. I would like to have heard what Bullock has said, but like I said, I I was you said if you wanted to debate, let's debate. I was more than welcome to debate it. If Michael Bullock was saying what he was saying, I wanted the proof. I'm not trying to say that I was going to agree or disagree with Michael Bullock. And, I just wanted to hear what he said. Yes, I did say I thought it was BS. I'm not trying to fire him up, but I wanted him to give me what I wanted to hear. Make me, and that's the thing. There's always two sides. It's always either you want to be right or there's two sides to the argument. I brought one take, make me believe about what you were going to bring, and for him to walk off and say my night's done about it, I'm sorry. I I hope, I know Derek and the producers are probably watching the show. I'm sorry. Look, I'm sorry, but I think repercussions need to be made. I'm sorry. I just think that what he's done is very unprofessional.
What if what if what if after maybe a brief cooling off period, he actually were to come back in like a couple minutes or something.
I mean, be my guest, fine, but I don't know. Uh, for something like that, I don't know. I'm unfortunately you're the host and everything else, and I know you're that man of good faith that always believes in second chances. Me,
Yes.
on the other hand, I'm not as forgiving. I mean, I'm not as forgiving. I'm sorry. A cerebral Viper way, he'd be off for the night. You jumped off during the show. In my eyes, you're benched.
Yeah. It I hate to say it. So well
But
I guess I have
but to get to the familiar thing, because I know you were getting into that, and I want to keep the show going.
yes.
Um. Anyway, but I feel bad. I feel bad for Familia, and I know a lot of people kind of harbor not that much of an ill will. Nobody really cares about it, and I know he's getting quite a rap because of But blood clots are no joke, man. I'm sorry. Blood clots are no joke, and they're really serious. I mean, that's a bad situation. That was a horrible thing that happened to him, and I get it. I would say for me, deep down, straight up, um, I wish him nothing but the best. I wish him all the luck in the world. And that's all I will say about that. So, yeah.
All right. Well, good news. Praise God. We got Michael Bullock back. I mean, I'm glad I am the man of good faith. That's one thing my church has taught me so well over the last 2 years I've been going there. And you know, um, I'm going to tell you a little story before we get Michael Bullock back into circulation here. Um, earlier this afternoon, about 9 hours or so ago, Michael Bullock called me up, and there's another story in the sports world that has really gotten under his skin, and that's the situation with LeVar Ball and Christine Leahy. I'm sure you've heard about that situation. We're not getting into that because it's not on the docket, and so we're just gonna leave that alone unless it gets put on the docket for a future reason. And Bullock and I vented about it. We had a heated vent about that, and and it makes us feel better. It gets get our frustrations out. The whole 9 yards. So there you go. So all right. So and I think that might have played a part in why Bullock left for a moment. So really hope we can have cooler heads prevail here. So Michael Bullock.
No, Florio. To me, that's no excuse for what I did there. That's absolutely no excuse.
Yeah.
I mean, what I did tonight was totally unprofessional, totally stupid of me, and that's not me. That's not the kind of person that I am that would do something like that. I mean, it was in the heat of the moment, and I mean, I feel so bad now, and I feel like I let Derek and the producers down. I let you down. Heck, I even let Fletcher down. So and I did hear Fletch said he wouldn't be the kind of forgiving person, but look, what I did tonight was unprofessional, and I promise to you, to Anthony, to Derek, and the producers that I will not do this again. And from the bottom of my heart, I apologize, and I just hope that cooler heads can prevail for the rest of the night, and we could just go on and talk about what we like talking about, and that's sports.
Absolutely. So
do you accept my apology, Florio?
I certainly do. I mean, heat of the moment, prisoner of the moment. I can certainly understand that.
And I know Fletch is probably isn't going to forgive me, and I can understand it.
Yeah. So, all right. Hopefully that concludes the dramatic and BS portion of this show. So, all right. So now that we're all, now that that's water under the bridge, let's get back into the Familia situation. MF already had his say, so I'm just going to go down the rest of the line. I'll set you up, Bullock, before we go from there. Familia was diagnosed with an arterial clot in his right shoulder, and it's also reported that he's going to go to St. Louis to undergo further testing. DeComo added that the Mets announced surgery is a possibility. Joel Sherman reported that the Mets aren't sure how long he could be out. He also noted that former pitcher David Cone suffered a similar injury in '96 and missed 4 months as a result. It's a major blow for the Mets, as Familia has excelled on the mound over the past 2 seasons, and it's the latest injury for a team that has been decimated by them to start this year. And after he posted 43 saves and a 1.85 ERA and a career best 4.53 strikeout to walk ratio 2 years ago, he returned in 2016 and led the NL with 51 saves. And during that productive stretch, Familia registered a 2.55 ERA, 1.21 WHIP, and 2.71 strikeout to walk ratio. Thanks to an improving repertoire that includes a fastball, split-fingered heater, and slider, Familia was expected to dominate again in 2017. He struggled somewhat, however, perhaps due to his injury, posting a 3.86 ERA, 1.61 WHIP, and 3 saves with 1 blown save. Should the injury force Familia to miss extended time, the Mets will likely turn to setup man Addison Reed, who ended the season with 106 career saves before he served as the team's interim closer during Familia's 15-game suspension at the start of this year. So with that being said, Bullock, if you're ready, let's get your thoughts on Jeurys Familia being diagnosed with a blood clot.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel bad for the guy. I mean, he was probably one of their best relievers, and was one of the reasons why the Mets got to the World Series in in 2015. And I mean, if he does need surgery, I mean, there's a chance that he could possibly miss the season. I mean, it's unfortunate. I mean, I wish him nothing but the best, and hopefully, I mean, I really hope we do get to see him back on the mound at some point this season. If not, hopefully he gets better for the 2018 season. So yeah, so there's really nothing more to say. So I'm just gonna give it to you, Florio.
Yeah, I mean, I can't catch a break. I mean, here is one of the most talented closers in the game. I mean, he's got a lot of baggage right now. I mean, the guy who went through, getting suspended for steroids, and I think we talked about him getting in trouble with the law. I think he had some kind of domestic violence strike hanging on him as well. And now to get diagnosed with a blood clot, I mean, that's no joke. I mean, that's serious. That's serious stuff, and that really messes you up. And David Cone, 20 years ago, during the Yankees championship season of '96, he had a similar problem, and he was out, and he was only out for 4 months, and he ended up coming back, and he ended up being one of the aces of that Yankee staff in the late '90s. Along with the likes of Andy Pettitte and David Wells and Orlando Hernandez and that great rotation they had in the '90s, which led to, of course, the dynasty during the '90s. But anyways, he's only 27 years old, and he had the last 2 years. I mean, he was amazing. I mean, 43 saves during their World Series run in 2015 before losing to the Royals, and then last year having 51 saves, and then of course getting suspended for PEDs this year, and with the other thing hanging over him, which we got into on this show, some time ago. So, yeah, I wish him the best. I mean, these guys have had their say on it, so that's really all I can say. And we wish Jeurys Familia the absolute best, and I pray that he gets better, and and everything works out for him, and he can go back to being that dominant closer. And it's been a hard times year for the Mets. I mean, with what happened to Matt Harvey, Matt Harvey leaving, basically having his little moment there, and ended up getting in trouble for it, and a lot of injuries right now. And that's why they're one of the more disappointing teams right now. So that's it. So we're just gonna leave it at that. So all the best to Jeurys Familia as he continues to recover from this very serious condition. So now let's move on to some lighter stuff here. Bryce Harper from the Washington Nationals. He's been, he's had some controversy in his own right over the years, but this is not controversial. Signed a new extension. He signed a 1-year contract extension through 2018. And while the terms of the extension were not formally released, Jon Heyman, reliable source right there, he says it includes a $21.65 million salary and an additional $1 million bonus if Bryce Harper becomes MVP again this year. And per Heyman, it projects to be MLB's biggest 1-year salary bump for a would-be arbitration-eligible player. However you slice it, it's a huge chunk of change for one of the league's most valuable players. He slugged his way to a cumulative 23 FWAR for the Nationals over the last 5 years, earning 4 All-Star bids, a Silver Slugger, a Rookie of the Year, and MVP. And while he hasn't yet returned to the record-setting pace he maintained 2 years ago, replete with 42 homers and a .330, .460, .649 batting line, he's been one of the most consistent and productive hitters in either league. Through his first 31 games this year, he was batting a tremendous .372, .496, .717, with 10 homers and 2.4 FWAR, and has already started to form a strong case for MVP consideration. He's set to enter free agency following this year will follow me next year and will almost undoubtedly test the waters in search of another mammoth deal. For now, however, he'll continue setting records for the Nationals, and if all goes according to plan, help power them through another postseason run come October. So that's all there is to. That's the schematics. So Michael Bullock, we're going to start it off with you here. Wow, what a deal for Bryce Harper, and one of the main reasons why the Nationals are off to another hot start here. But I'll believe it when I see it come October.
Yeah, I mean, that is a lot of money that he signed for, and that's some people say it's worth it, and here are some rumors that I heard about Bryce Harper when he does become a free agent. And hold on, let me just pull it up here. This is according to an executive, a long-term deal for Bryce Harper when he hits free agency. It could be a long-term deal could be worth $500 million. That's $500 million. I mean, damn. Bryce Harper. I mean, when he first came into the big leagues, I mean, we didn't know what to expect from this young kid, but when he got called up, and all I can say is the rest was history. And yeah, and basically, look at all the numbers that he's put up. If I could just find it here. But here's some of the things he's accomplished, of course, in his career. A 4-time All-Star. He won the MVP back in 2015. That same year, he won the Silver Slugger Award, won the NL Hank Aaron Award, was a National League home run leader. He won the NL Rookie of the Year, and won the Golden Spikes Award back in 2010. Yeah, and basically, 2012. He had 22 homers with 98 RBIs, and then in 2013, he ended up in 118 games. He had 20 homers and 58 RBIs, and then in 2014, and only in 100 games. Because he did have an injury on his thumb. He only hit .273 with 13 homers and 52 runs batted in. But 2015 was basically, like I said, the year that he won the National League MVP, and when he hit 42 home runs that year, and he won that MVP unanimously. And then last season, he hit 243 with 24 homers and 86 RBIs in 147 games. And yeah, and so far, he's off to another good start this season. And basically, so at least we know he's going to be around for the 2018 season. But what's going to happen after that? If a deal like that's going to be worth $500 million, I don't know if there's any team out there who's willing to spend that much money just to sign this guy. But we'll just have to wait and see. But so that's pretty much all I can say on it. So, Wario, it is yours.
Yeah. Big extension indeed. And, say what you want about him. I mean, I know he's been, a wild child, I've always, I've always thought of him as, one of those controversial figures, like a Ricky Wild Thing Vaughn from the Major League movies. I mean, he kind of reminded me of him. He was kind of one of those wild child, didn't give a crap about anything, and I thought he was on his way to that, but he's definitely toned it down, and he's been very reliable for that team. And there's a lot of teams in sports today that have all these great regular seasons, but then in the postseason have nothing to show for it. That's one of those teams right there, the Washington Nationals. I mean, they've had these great postseason runs. They have these great regular seasons, but then in the postseason they can't do anything. They can't get over the hump. But after what I've seen from this Nationals team, right, as of this right now, I think this team could definitely, do some things. And I think this could be a year where maybe they will get over the hump. I mean, yes, the pitching needs work, but the offense is there, and he's the reason why that offense is clicking on all cylinders. And he's one of the most sought after picks when it comes to this awesome thing on MLB.com called Beat the Streak. I mean, you pick one, maybe two players to see if they can get a hit. And if they do, then you get points for that. And since I started doing that, I've used Bryce Harper quite a few times. And a matter of fact, I actually used him tonight. And when his Washington Nationals went up against Fletcher's Braves, and believe it or not, Bryce Harper was hitless tonight. He went 0 for 4. So, well, my streak's over. So, but Fletcher's Braves actually get the job done. They beat the Nationals tonight, 7-4. So, good for UMF. I mean, I know you got to be happy about that. So, big time win for his team. So, but anyways, I've used him more than anybody, and I took a chance on him tonight, and well, went down the tubes. So, but like I said, his body of work is the reason why you believe in him, and that's why I decided to go with him. He was one of the recommendations. So, but that's all I can really get into there. So it's not a surprise. I mean, you want to keep the guy happy, obviously, because he is, he really is your franchise player right now, even though they haven't had that breakout moment yet. But I strongly believe in my heart of hearts that one day that team will have a breakout moment. They're one of the best teams to never go all the way, and I strongly believe one day that team will go all the way. I mean, they're way too talented. That's just how I strongly feel about it. Me being the Mr. Baseball of this group. So if they can just get the pitching to work, if they can just work on the pitching, then they're fine. Then they're going to really be okay, because the offense, we don't have to worry about the offense. We'll get into them later on when we do the power rankings, because they're going to be in the power rankings. I'll tell you that right now. So, but they're going to definitely be on the lower end of it, because they did lose to Fletcher's Braves, and that's not good. So Bryce Harper, congrats on the extension. I mean, some could say it's a money reach, but hey, you got to do what you got to do to keep your franchise guy happy. So that's really all I can say on that. So we still got a ways to go. So 25-16, they're leading the NL East. So. All right, MF. Hopefully, now that you've had time to cool down after our heated exchange a little bit ago, your thoughts on your biggest rivals, on one of your biggest rivals, signing that monster new deal?
Well, the thing is that when it comes to the monster deal, it actually reminds me of when Alex Rodriguez signed. There was I think it was almost $300 million with the New York Yankees. It was the second extension, because remember, he initially was traded from Texas to New York, and then there was that second extension, and that was upwards of $300 million. Because there was going to be a lot of awards, there was going to be a lot of things that were going to be handed out. If Alex Rodriguez was going to get certain milestones, the 500th home run, the 600th home run, if he won the World Series, which he did win, he won the World Series with the Yankees. So there was a lot of incentives. I think that's what you're going to see with Bryce Harper. With his, it's going to be a lot of rated with a lot of incentives. If he makes the All-Star team, if he wins the All-Star Game MVP, if he does win National League MVP again, leads the Nationals to the World Series, wins it, because like you said, Anthony, this is one of the best teams out there that has not gotten the World Series trophy yet, and I do believe probably in the length of his contract that I think the Nationals are good enough that they can win it all. So we'll wait and see what happens. We'll see how it plays out. But as far as how it's going to come out, what the look is, what the overall body of work is, I think we're just going to have to wait and see. But for me, he deserves it. I mean, him and Mike Trout are right now the two best players in all of Major League Baseball. I think there's no argument with that. Mike Trout with the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim and Bryce Harper of the Washington Nationals, they are right now like the standard bearers of the entire Major League Baseball. And I think with them together, they are going to be unbelievable. Nothing more to say. Anthony, let's just move on.
Well, keep your mic on, MF, because your UFC corner is coming up here, your UFC beat, because, like I said, we had this is one of our smaller dockets that we've had in quite a while. And, it's going to be MF's moment here. So, because right now we're going to recap UFC 211. And MF, we also want to get your thoughts on your early thoughts on the big mega fight in UFC that's going to be coming up on July the 29th when Jon Bones Jones squares off against Daniel Cormier. I know you've got a lot to say about that. So, but before we have MF share his thoughts, last Saturday night we had UFC 211, which was held at the American Airlines Center in Dallas, Texas, exclusively on pay-per-view, and it was one of the most stacked cards probably since UFC 205 last November in Madison Square Garden. We're not going to run down the preliminary results. We're only going to run down the main card results. So they are as follows: David Branch over Krzysztof Jotko via a split decision in a middleweight match. Frankie Edgar over Yair Rodriguez in a featherweight bout due to a doctor stoppage TKO. I know MF's going to have something to say about that. Damian Maia over Jorge Masvidal, another split decision. That was in a welterweight match. Two championship matches on this card. Joanna Jędrzejczyk successfully defends her women's strawweight championship via a unanimous decision over Jessica Andrade. And in the main event of the evening, Steve Miocic continues to reign supreme as he successfully defends the UFC World Heavyweight Championship against Junior Dos Santos, and it only took him one round to do it via a first round TKO punches at 2:22 of the first round. Now, MF, you and our good friend and colleague Alex Zapata, you got and some other people from your 2184 crew went up to the Buffalo Wild Wings in the Sea Conkeys Providence line last Saturday night. I know you all had a great time. And so you saw the event. You all saw the event. I'm sure the place was packed. I'm sure it had to be packed.
There was a good crowd. I'll admit that. Yes.
Of course. So your thoughts on how the UFC 211 card played out, and also your early thoughts on Jon Bones Jones and Daniel Cormier, the next big mega fight in UFC on July 29th.
Sure. I'll start off by saying that the David Branch against Jenko fight, I wasn't really too wild about it. I really didn't care much for that fight. Um, it was an okay fight. It was a good battle. Um, but there was really nothing that I would say about that one. All right, let me get into the 4 mega fights of the night because this was the reason why I wanted it to go. Frankie Edgar versus Yair Rodriguez. We were all thinking that it was going to be a more competitive fight, a more interesting fight. I'm going to say this. Frankie Edgar absolutely destroyed him. He dominated early punches, got the ground and pound. He basically destroyed Yair Rodriguez. And basically, the referee or the doctor stopped the fight. Yair Rodriguez's eye was so puffed up, his eye was completely shut. Like he could not even see out of that eye. They had to stop that fight. There was no way he was going to make it to the 3rd round, and because of that, the fight was over. Basically, it was unbelievable, dominating performance. Frankie Edgar deserves a title shot in the featherweight division. No doubt about it. I really thought that was the right decision. Damian Maia versus Jorge Masvidal. It was a split decision victory. I disagreed with the decision. I thought Masvidal won the fight. I thought he was more better. I thought he had octagon control. I thought he was more decisive. I thought it was a screw job. Alex even jumped on it. We both flipped out. Crying foul. The last time we've ever had a one like that where me and him both started flipping out, yelling screw job, screw job, screw job. You got to go all the way back to the night when Robbie Lawler actually beat Johnny Hendricks and became the UFC welterweight champion of the world. And at that night we were at Dave & Buster's in Providence, Rhode Island, and I didn't even say a word. Alex pretty much said it for me. He yelled out, "That was an effing screw job!" And this time around, it was a mirror image again. I was like, I basically did a oh, and then he's like, "Yup, screw job. Here we go again." This time we were like, he asked me where was this fight? I said Dallas, Texas. He's like, okay, we can't yell because normally whenever there's a robbery or a screw job, it normally happens in Las Vegas, Nevada. For some odd reason, the judges in Vegas stinks, but that's just me. That's my point of view. All right. Joanna Jacek versus Jessica Andrade. I'm gonna say this. I thought Jessica won the first round, and so did Alex. We thought she had octagon control. She actually left a nice little knot on the head of Joanna Jacek. If you saw the post show on Fox Sports 1 when they were interviewing Joanna, she had a nice big bump right in her forehead. That was because Jessica lit her up in the first round. But round two through 5, it was all Joanna Jacek. Her leg kicks were brutal. She landed. She threw 60 of them. She landed 55 leg kicks. Her body of work, the punches she threw in that fight, she landed over 100 punches and leg kicks combined in this fight. She dominated the final 4 rounds, had octagon control. She dominated it. I thought she won it hands down, clean victory. No arguments in my eyes. Joanna Jacek is a machine. She is without a doubt the best strawweight in the division. She reminds me of Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson. Let's say that. She is that dominating in that division. Good luck to whoever has to fight her next, because this girl, she in the first round, she was human. We finally realized she's not a machine. She's actually human, but she showed that will, that heart, and she basically was. She's the champion. She's the champ. And then also talking about dominating champions, Stipe Miocic. What a performance, man. I mean, It got a little scary in the early round. Junior Dos Santos was going, was looking for the knockout. He had some good control on him, kept distance, using his height, using some very effective jabs, some good leg kicks by Junior. But I'm gonna tell you, man, he got punched in the ear. That kind of knocks your equilibrium out. It's almost similar to what happened when he knocked out Cain Velasquez. When he knocked out Cain, it was a right cross right up to above the ear that knocked Cain a little loopy, and the next thing you know, that's when Junior pounced on him, and Anthony does the emphatic, "It is all over." Well, this was almost a mirror image of it. Cypre got him with a good punch, drops Junior Dos Santos. Next thing you know, he comes in with a couple of fists right into the face. Basically, Junior does not do anything to protect himself. Herb Dean jumps in, stops the fight. Yes, I could hear Anthony Florio yelling again, "It is all over." Cypre Miocic is still the UFC heavyweight champion of the world. And yes, he is unbelievable performance. This guy, I'm falling in love with this guy. He is a great representation of the UFC, and not only that, he's a humble man, a good guy. And then they told him, what is he going to do next? He's got to go back to Independence, Ohio, because he's got a work shift on Monday morning, because he works as a paramedic and a firefighter for the Independence, Ohio Police Department. So, and that's what he's been doing. He's got a 9 to 5, 40-hour job, and plus he's also on the side kicking people's asses as the UFC heavyweight champion of the world. Right on to you, Cypre. Good luck, man. I cannot wait to see you in the octagon very, very soon. And speaking of getting into the octagon very, very soon, this is a fight I've been waiting for, man. Jon Jones versus Daniel Cormier. They're finally gonna throw down. There is so much bad blood now. We almost had a fight at the fight announcements. They had to get security to break these two up. It's really Jon Jones now, and he's so cool, so relaxed, so cool, calm, cool, and collected. It's really Daniel Cormier trying to pick a fight. And the last time I remember Cormier, now, it wasn't dominating. It wasn't that bad. I mean, he did win. I had it 3-2. That Jon Jones won the fight. But at the end of the night, I thought Jon deserved to win the title. This is another instance of a great championship fight, great battle, great war. I cannot wait for this throwdown. When these two guys get it on this July, it is going to be, without a doubt, one of the biggest title fights we had in recent memory. Everybody's waiting for this one, man. I can't wait for this one. And I'll say this, Bless, I want to say thank you and much love to the guys at Buffalo Wild Wings for making my night so enjoyable as always. Me and the crew, we had so much fun doing it. And like I said, I cannot wait to do it again. I'm going back on June 3rd. That's the next time we're going to be going to witness this big event. And like I said, as of right now, we got a mega. And then as of right now, we got a mega event coming up June 3rd, like I said. And I know I'll be previewing that as well. But let me tell you, man, there's another event that I'm looking at right now. And this one is UFC 213. It's UFC 213. That's on July 8th, on 4th of July week. I guess the post 4th of July weekend. Man, if you love MMA, this might be uneven. Like, the fight card we had at 211 was amazing. 13 is looking like a monster card. I mean, this is like 205 level type event. 2 championship fights. Then we got 3 unbelievable matches with some of the best fighters in the world. I mean, this is July 8th. It's going to be absolutely I'm gonna say it's almost on the verge of redonkulous is what I'm gonna say it. And then they actually just announced it's actually going to go down July 29th. I just want to confirm it for you guys. July 29th from the Honda Center in Anaheim, California. That's when you get to see John Jones and Daniel Cormier and the epic rematch. So, I mean, yeah, nothing more to say. Anthony, it's yours.
Yeah. I'm looking at that card already, MF. That card you were just talking about. My Lord, that is going to be one hell of a.
I mean, you got two. I mean, you got Corey Nola Gildebrand versus TJ Dillashaw. They're right now the coaches on Ultimate Fighter.
Yeah.
And you've already seen how much how much it's exploded between those two.
Absolutely.
Then you got Amanda Nunes versus Valentina Shevchenko. Valentina, I mean, she just came off a big win over Holly Holm, and Amanda Nunes, she destroyed Ronda Rousey. Like, nobody saw that coming.
Absolutely not.
And then you got Robbie.
How about Ruthless?
Yeah,
Robbie
you got
against the Cowboy, Donald Cerrone.
Okay, Ruthless Robbie Lawler. Now I'm going to say this. Yes, he's a former UFC welterweight champion, but I'm sorry, he's not. He was never my champion. I didn't think he deserved to win that title. Like, again, this is one of those times where I started yelling "screw job" because of the fact I thought he lost twice during as champion. I thought there was 2 highway robberies when it came to Robbie Lawler. Donald Cerrone, I'm going to say it flat out, one of my favorite fighters in the UFC right now. I love him. He's a great fighter. He's an unbelievable competitor. Plus, he drinks beer by the gallons, man. He's a true cowboy, man. They had him on one of those interviews during the UFC meet and greet, and he started drowning beers, like going like he was Stone Cold Steve Austin, for heaven's sake. I mean, yeah, this guy is so awesome. And the thing is, he's willing to fight anybody. It doesn't matter what weight class he is. You give him a fight, you give him a weight class, he'll be there. He's always ready to fight anybody, anytime, any place, anywhere. That's the true art. That's the true mark of a fighter, and that's why. And not only do I love him, Alex loves him. Jeffrey Monty, who's one of my 2184 crew members, he loves him. And in all the inner circles of all the MMA fans around the world, he is without a doubt one of the most popular fighters in all of the UFC right now. Fabricio Verdum versus Alistair Overeem. This is a mega fight. This is, I mean, this could be a main event anywhere in the world. I'm telling you right now, Fabricio Verdum, former UFC heavyweight champion, Alistair Overeem, the guy that deserves an opportunity at the world title. I mean, whoever wins that fight, maybe he's fighting Miocic next. If Verdum wins this fight, I think he instantly gets a title shot. If Alistair Overeem wins, I don't know. Maybe we get a rematch, because we do get a rematch for the title again. Who knows? And then Jim Miller, good fighter, goes up against one of my favorite fighters, another one of my favorite fighters, Showtime Anthony Pettis. But I got to tell you, man, I'm really worried about Pettis, man. He's lost 3 in a row. He needs this fight. He needs to win this fight, or I think the UFC is going to cut him. I honestly think they will cut him. So this is basically a fight for survival for Anthony Pettis. If he loses this fight, I don't see him coming back. So that's my early thoughts about that. I'll give you more about it once we get closer to July 8th. But yeah, I can't wait for that one.
Of course. I certainly don't blame you, MF. So yeah. Very insightful as always, MF. That's why you are our Joe Rogan after all, and that's why that even though Mike Goldberg's no longer there, I know he doesn't work for them anymore, but he'll always be there in my heart. You know that. So all right. Well, there's only one thing left to do here, guys. We got the Major League Baseball power rankings here and now. So, and I'll tell you what, MF gave me a lot of leeway there so I could scramble and get mine ready to go. And I'm going to tell you right now, major changes because a lot of teams right now, a lot of the good teams that we've had in our rankings in the past, that they're duds, if you can believe it. And I'm going to start it off right here and now. Oh boy, how many duds do I have in here? I've got quite a few. I got at least 3 in here, 3 or 4, I think, dating back to our last rankings a week ago. Oh yeah, I'm going to start with the biggest dud of them all. This team, MF, we had this team ranked at number 2 in our rankings a week ago. And 1 week later, they go from number 2 to out. And I'm talking about the Cincinnati Reds.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
the biggest dud of the week.
Oh, yeah. I agree with that.
7 consecutive losses in a row, 2-8 in the last 10 games. Are you sure that team was number 2 a week ago?
That's what we like to call a free fall, folks. And when you drop that far down, man, that's almost like sliding in the NFL draft. You hope and pray that you can stop the bleeding, but no way, no how. You're not saving yourself after that one. Nope.
No, indeed not. Next dud, the Washington Nationals. What's going on with these guys? They've lost 3 in a row, 4-6 in their last 10. Yes, you're a first place team. I get that, but 3 in a row and 4-6 in the last 10. I thought I was going to have them in the rankings for sure, but after looking into the numbers, no, sorry. And 2 more duds. Well, actually, 3 more duds if you really think about it. Hard to believe, but my team, the New York Yankees, they've lost 2 in a row, 4-6 in their last 10. Haven't really liked their body of work lately. I can say the same for the Baltimore Orioles. They've also lost 2 in a row, and they're 4-6 in their last 10. Haven't liked what I've seen from them either. And last but not least, even though they're 5-5 in their last 10 games, I haven't really liked what I've seen from Bullock's Red Sox either. So those are my duds. So there will be quite a few new additions to my power rankings personally, but I'll let you know who they are as soon as they come about it. But I'll tell you right now, we got a very surprising number 1. Well, not really a surprising number 1. It's just that we got a red hot number 1, and believe me, they have been red hot. So and I can't wait to get into them. But we started off at number 10, and this is an easy one for me. Well, actually, I might have to rethink it now because I think a new result came in. So I think I might have to do a like I always do. I was ready to go. I'm gonna make one quick little indemnity, but I do have one honorable mention that I do want to get into real fast. Seattle Mariners, they've won 2 in a row, 5-5 in the last 10, just a little under 500, but that's all I can say on that. So I'm ready to go. Now I'm ready. Okay, number 10 now. This is my undisputed number 10 now. It's the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. They're 500, 6-4 in the last 10 games. They lost their last game, but they're 14th in ERA, 19th in runs scored, 19th in batting average, next to last in home runs allowed. And that's not gonna cut the Dijon, as I like to say. So, excuse me. Since our last rankings, they won 2. They split a 4-game series with the Detroit Tigers. They swept the Chicago White Sox 3 in a row. They had won 4 in a row going into this game, and they would have been a lot higher up in the rankings. But they did lose tonight. They got shut out by the Mets. They lost 3-0 to the New York Mets. So they have 2 more against the Mets this weekend, including Saturday Night Baseball on Fox, and we're going to get that game right here in our area. So tomorrow night, 7:15 on Fox, we'll be tuning into that. They're in the midst of a very long road trip. This is the first of a 10-game road trip for the Angels of Anaheim, and that's not a good way to start it off with a loss to the Mets. They have 2 more against the Mets, and then they got a 4-game series with Tampa Bay, the Rays, starting Monday in St. Petersburg, and then they got to go to Miami for a 3-game series with the Marlins, and that starts next Friday. Derek Ferrera's birthday, by the way, so we're gonna have. I'll get more into that at the end of the show as far as future content goes. And then they return home on the 29th. And who's going to be waiting for the Angels when they get home? MF, your Braves. Your Braves are going to be waiting for the Angels when they come home on the 29th after this very long 10-game road trip. So they would have been a lot higher up because they had won 4 in a row, but that got snapped tonight by the Mets at Citi Field. So that's all I can say on that. So my number 10, it's the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. And one more note before I give it to MF. Believe it or not, I don't have any ties in this ranking this week. Can you believe that? How about it? So how do you follow that, MF?
I'll give it to the Angels. I agree with that. No arguments with that. So, Michael Bullock, I'll give it to you.
Yeah, no arguments for me as well. Angels are my number 10 as well. So that being said, let's move on to number 9.
Number 9, and MF starts it off if he's ready.
All right. You know what? I'm going to say this. They definitely deserve the love here. And let me tell you, yes, they're at 500, which actually does constitute that you are eligible for consideration if you are in the power rankings in this situation. Actually, no, wait. Okay, I'm doubling back. My number 9, I was thinking of going with the one team because of the 6-4 thing, but I'm actually gonna go. Well, oh boy, now I'm caught here. You know what? Okay, because of the records, and this is why I'm gonna do this. Because of the record, because they're 22-22, I'm gonna give it to the Tampa Bay Rays. I was thinking something a little different. A team from the NL West caught my eye, but because their record is a lot more better, I'm actually going to give them the benefit of the doubt. So Tampa Rays, 22-22 on the season, 6-4 in the last 10, winners of 3 in a row, and they also beat the Yankees. Very important because with that win, that kind of solidified themselves in the rankings, and also kind of knocked. That was the no pun intended, but that was the camel that broke the straw. That was the straw that broke the camel's back, and down went the Yankees. They went sliding right out of the rankings in my eyes. So yes, I'll give it to them. My number 9 is the Tampa Rays because of the overall record. If it wasn't for that, maybe they're a little higher, but because of overall record and because of there is a little bit of a logjam here with 8, 7, and 6, I had to do it like that. So, Michael Bullock, I'll give it to you.
Yeah, I'm actually going to go with Fletch, and it is number 9, the Tampa Bay Rays. I mean, he made some pretty valid points there, so I'm not going to argue with that. So, so Tampa Bay Rays number 9. So, Florio, it is yours.
Yeah, I'm gonna be real honest. There are gonna be some disagreements here, and I'm gonna make damn sure it's not gonna escalate like it did earlier. So,
And this is one of them.
Yeah, I've got Tampa Bay a little bit higher on my end, mainly because of the streaks. And you know me, I always got to go with the hot hands. You know me, so I got to put Tampa Bay a little bit, a few spots higher. So we got a lot of teams in there with the 6-4 in the last 10 games, and I think we got like 5 of them, and I have to go with the hot hands right now. So so with that being said, I know MF believes in the records, but me, I believe in the hot hands. So So with that being said, my number 9 is the Colorado Rockies. They've won their last game, 6-4 in the last 10. Yes, they are. I believe they have the best record in the National League at 27-16. But at the same time, I want to see a little more from them. If I'm going to put them higher, then I know they should be. They're 4th in home runs allowed. They're 5th in runs scored. They're 12th in batting average, and they're 16th in ERA. So that's about middle of the road. Okay. Let's see what the Rocks have done over the last week since our last rankings. Well, they split a 4-game series with the Los Angeles Dodgers. They took 2 out of 3 from the Minnesota Twins in Minnesota. One of those games were rained out. You remember that was the theme of last week's rankings, a lot of rainouts. They won on Tuesday. They were rained out Wednesday. They had a day-night doubleheader on Thursday, and they split that. So that's 2 out of 3. And then they beat up on the Cincinnati Reds tonight, 12-6 in Cincinnati. So I think if they didn't split that day-night doubleheader with Minnesota, I think if they had won that second game against Minnesota, maybe I would have put them higher. But I can't quite do that here because there are some other good teams that are playing some good ball right now that I have to show the love to. Or as Luigi PS3 would say, I got to show them the lovins. Love that girl, by the way. All right. 2 more games against the Reds this weekend. And then they got to go to Philadelphia for a 4-gamer with the Phillies. And then they come home next Friday for a 3-game series with the St. Louis Cardinals. And St. Louis will be up there in the rankings. You can bet your bottom dollar there. So there you go. My number 9, it is the Colorado Rockies. So that's a no-brainer for me. So okay, let's continue on here. Of course, MF and I will rotate on the leadoffs because we know Bullock won't be ready because Bullock has a hard time doing these more than any of us. So with that being said, let's move on to my number 8. And in my number 8, staying in the National League West. Yeah, staying in the National League West. Now we do have 2 teams that are 6-4 in the last 10 games and have won 2 in a row. But the difference is one is a first place team and the other is a third place team. So I gotta show the lovins to the first place team instead of the third place team in this case. So with that being said, my number 8 is the Los Angeles Dodgers. They've won 2 in a row. They're 6-4 in the last 10, but they're third in their division. 24 well, actually they're tied for second in their division rather with Arizona, and Arizona will be in the rankings as well. That's a little spoiler alert, but I've got Zona a little higher. Dodgers have the best pitching staff in all of baseball right now. They lead the league in ERA, 3.31, and they're 4th in home runs allowed, 41. They're 5th in the batting average at 264, and they're 6th in runs scored, 209. And let's see what's going on with the LA Dodgers since our last rankings. Split a 4-game series with the Colorado Rockies. Then they did lose 2 out of 3 to the San Francisco Giants. They beat up on the Marlins last night, 7-2, and they're actually beating up on the Marlins as we speak right now. They're up 5-0 right now in the bottom of the 5th inning. So, yeah, the Dodgers definitely on their way up. No question about that. So let me give you the rest of their results, and then I'm going to give you a little analysis because of my being the Mr. Baseball of our group here. I'll go into Tim McCarver, Bob Uecker mode, if you will. So, okay, let's see what the Dodgers have been doing. Like I said, they're in the midst of a series right now with the Miami Marlins, and they beat up on them 7-2 last night, beating up on them again right now, 5-0, and they're going to be on their way up, no question about it. Yeah, because I was looking into some extra stats here. Okay, so lost to they went 2-2 against the Rockies, and then they lost 2 out of 3 to San Fran. So far, it looks like they're going to be 2 for 2 against the Marlins in this 4-game series, with 2 more against them this weekend. Then they're off on Monday, and then they got the St. Louis Cardinals coming in for 3 starting Tuesday, and then after that, they got your reigning and defending World Series champion Chicago Cubs coming in for a 3-gamer next weekend, including Saturday Night Baseball on Fox, 7:15. So they're in the midst of a big-time homestand here. This is a 10-game homestand. We talked about a 10-game road trip. Now we got a 10-game homestand. So far, they're 1 for 1. Looks like they're going to be 2 for 2. With the Marlins, with 2 more with the Marlins, and then the Cardinals are coming in for 3, and then the Champs are coming in for 3 after that. And then at the end of the month, on the 29th, they go on a road trip, and then they go to St. Louis to go up against the Cardinals. So they're going to be seeing the Cardinals quite a bit. So get used to it, Dodger fans. So a lot of history with those 2 teams, I'll tell you. So great young team. I love what I'm seeing with the Dodgers right now. I mean, so much young talent on this team. Guys like Corey Seager and Justin Turner, who I've used in that Beat the Streak on MLB.com, and they both pay dividends for me. And they've definitely helped me out in the past. So I'm grateful for those 2 young men. They're very talented. Clayton Kershaw, enough said on that. And that pitching staff is lights out right now. And so they got a lot of work to do if they're going to make the postseason. I mean, right now they're right now tied with Arizona for second in that division. And I never thought I'd say the NL West was the most compelling division, but they're one of the most compelling divisions right now. And with those 2 in Colorado, who knows? If this keeps going the way it does, could it come down to that final weekend? I hope it does. But this is a great young team, and I love the body of work, and I like the pitching staff, and I like that young talent on the offensive side, especially Seager and Turner. Those are 2 young men you got to watch for. So my number 8, Los Angeles Dodgers. I know it's probably going to constitute a disagreement, but, it is what it is. So MF, number 8 on your end. Let's have it.
All right, Anthony. It is going to constitute a disagreement because my number 8, I hate to do this, but this was the Colorado Rockies. This is where I had the Rocks. The 6-4 in the last 10, as you said. Even though their records were better, this is where I actually have to disagree with you. I had Colorado here, so no. It's yours.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Fletch on this one. I got the Rockies at number 8 as well. So so now let's go to Fletch with his number 7.
All right, my number 7. Actually, this is where I have a tie at number 7. This is where I had the LA Dodgers, but I also am going to add the Minnesota Twins in this one as well. They're both Minnesota's 21-17. The LA Dodgers is not much, 24-18 in their situation there, and they're 6-4 in the last 10 games, winners of 2 in a row. So no, this is where I would have had them. I really have no arguments here. So Michael Bullock, I'll give it to you.
Who'd you have, Fletch?
I had the Dodgers and I had the Minnesota Twins in a tie.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. The Dodgers and the Dodgers and the Twins are my number 7 as well. So, Florio, it is yours.
Well, like I said, I don't have any ties. I know that's hard to believe in. Wow, Fletcher with a tie. That's a rarity. But number 7, right? Yes. This is actually where I have the Minnesota Twins. So this is an agree to disagree situation. I definitely agree with Minnesota. They've won 2 in a row, 6-4 in the last 10. The leaders of the AL Central. What? They actually lead this division? Not Cleveland? The defending American League champs, who have been playing, I hate to say it, like chumps lately, but it is what it is. They could be a one-year wonder, even though I still have high hopes for that team. But anyways, Minnesota 21-17. They lead Cleveland by a game, and Detroit by 2. Detroit, another honorable mention, by the way. Lost their last game, 5-5 in the last 10. Need to see a little more if I'm going to put them back in. But Minnesota's 14th in home runs allowed. They're 17th in ERA, 19th in batting average, 24th in runs scored. And despite, a so-so pitching staff and a so-so offense, I mean, they actually lead this division. And I can't believe I'm saying that, but it's true. Took 2 out of 3 from the Cleveland Indians last weekend in Cleveland. That's a big deal. They did lose 2 out of 3 to the Colorado Rockies, but they responded with a big 4-3 win against Kansas City at home tonight at Target Field. So they're going to have 2 more against the Royals this weekend. And then on Monday, they go up to Baltimore for a 3-game series against the Orioles at Camden Yards. That should be an interesting series there. They're off on Thursday. And then on Friday, they host the Tampa Bay Rays for a 3-game series. So that Tampa series right there, I'll tell you, that's going to definitely have some big time power ranking implications. So maybe even the Baltimore series. So of course the Royals, boy oh boy, how the mighty have fallen with those two. I mean, here's a team that just 2 years ago won the World Series for the first time in 30 years, and now they're back to being those vintage Royals. I hate to say it, but sad but true. So with that said, number 7 for me, lone number 7 is the Minnesota Twins. So let's move on now to number 6, and this is actually where I have the Tampa Bay Rays. 22-22. Despite being in 4th place in the AL East, they're only 4.5 games out. That's not too lengthy at all. 6-4 in the last 10 games, but they've won 3 in a row. There's another team that's also won 3 in a row, but not just the record, but also division positioning. That's where it is. The other team is tied for 2nd in their respective division. This team is 4th. But here's a team that's been coming on very strongly lately. They're 4th in ERA at 3.75. Very good. They're 8th in home runs allowed. They're 9th in runs scored. Team batting average is 16th, but the offense is decent. Pitching's very good. So see what they've done since our last rankings. They took 2 out of 3 from Bullock's Red Sox at Fenway Park. And then they followed that up by taking 2 out of 3 from the Indians in Cleveland, beating the AL champs. And then they beat the Yankees 5-4 tonight. The Yankees, who are currently, 1 ahead of Baltimore in the AL East. I still can't believe the Yanks are actually doing what they're doing, but 2 more games against the Yankees this weekend, and then they get the LA Angels of Anaheim for a 4-game series at the Trop. Good way to start off this 7-game homestand for the Rays, beating the Yankees. Very big deal. 2 more against them, then the Angels come in for 4, and then they got a long road trip, which starts next week in Minnesota against the Twins at Target Field, and then they got to go up against the hottest team in baseball, but I'm not going to spoil that. So, because I think that might be a dead giveaway. So I'm just going to leave it at that. But so yeah, I'm definitely liking the body of work right now. So I can understand why these guys would put him at number 9. And with the records, I can understand that. No, I'm not going to argue that. I'm not going to bash him here for that. But me, me, I like to reward the hot hands, because that's always how I've been. So yeah, another good young team. Of course, you got Evan Longoria, still the veteran on that team. He's still doing things at a high level. I mean, the heart and soul of that team that went to the World Series in 2008. And, I don't think they're going to get there this year unless, they really surprise the hell out of us. But you never know. Anything, strange things can happen. So, I mean, look what happened tonight, for goodness sakes. So that's all I can say on that. So for me, my number 6 is the Tampa Bay Rays. So MF, I already know you had Tampa, but who do you have at number 6?
My number 6, this is where I have the Arizona Diamondbacks. They are my number 6, so nothing more to say. Mike Bullock, I'll give it to you.
Yeah, I got the Arizona Diamondbacks as my number 6 as well, so there's really nothing more to say. So Fletch, let's move on to your number 5.
Top 5, and this is where, things get a little hairy. This is where it actually gets a little tough. So I'm looking through the records. None of them really stand out amazingly here. So my number 5, St. Louis Cardinals, 7-3. I think I might have made a misstep here, but I just don't see how anything else could really warrant here. So I'm just gonna let that be, let that simmer. Anthony, or I should say, Michael Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, basically with some of these standouts and um, like I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna have to go with Fletch here, and I'm gonna go with the St. Louis Cardinals. I mean, they've lost. I mean, they are 7-3 in their last 10 games, but they've lost 2 in a row, and I still need to see a little bit more from St. Louis before I can really take them seriously. So that's pretty much all I can say. So, Floria, what's yours?
Another small disagreement here. And that mentioned about a misstep. Yeah, this was I think the misstep here, because I got St. Louis just a smidgen higher. But my number 5, this is actually where I have the Arizona Diamondbacks. 3 in a row, just like Tampa Bay, 3 in a row, 6-4 in the last 10. But like I said, they're tied for second in their division, and they also have the better record. But it was really more so of the division placement. So Zona, 6th in batting average, 6th in ERA, they're 8th in runs scored, and they're 13th in home runs allowed. Let's look at their body of work since our last rankings a week ago. They split a 4-game series with the Pittsburgh Pirates. They swept the Mets 3 in a row. That's a very big deal. And as of right now, they are inflicting a 9-0 beatdown on the San Diego Padres in San Diego. And oh, by the way, 8 runs in the first. What? 8 runs in the first? Good grief. But yeah, D-backs, I mean, this is another fun young team that I'm definitely taking a liking to. I'll get more into that in a minute, but 2 more games against the Padres this weekend, and then on Monday they got the Chicago White Sox coming in for a 3-game interleague series, and then they go up to Milwaukee for a 4-game series with the Brewers, who are actually playing some really good ball right now. I'll tell you right now, they're in my top 3. I'm going to give you that right now. So that's it. So loving Arizona right now. Another pair of young guns that I recommend you keep your eye on. Of course, you hear the name Paul Goldschmidt. Of course, Goldschmidt is the superstar on that team, but there's another young man who I think has superstar potential, and that's AJ Pollock. I mean, 2 more guys who I've used in that Beat the Streak on MLB.com, and these guys have been very reliable for me. So that's all I can say on that. So good young talent hitting wise. You got a couple of good veterans in there as well, and solid pitching staff. And this is a team that for the first time in a very long time we may have to take seriously. So that being said, my number 5, it is the Arizona Diamondbacks. So moving on to number 4, this is actually where I have the St. Louis Cardinals. Despite the fact that they've lost 2 in a row, they're 7-3 in the last 10 games, and that's a major dividend on their end. 21-17, second in the NL Central, 1.5 games behind Milwaukee. Whoa, did I just seriously say that? Milwaukee. Whoa. Okay. St. Louis, 3rd in ERA, 6th in home runs allowed, 8th in batting average. But the runs, they need to get more run support, though. They're 22nd in the run scoring department. The pitching's there, the offense is there, but they need to just put some more runs on the board. since our last rankings, they took 2 out of 3 from Ward's World Series champion Cubs. Very big deal. And then they lost. They were swept in a brief 2-game interleague series by Bullock's Red Sox. And I know Bullock was probably saying, "Yep, just like 2004 and 2013. Yep, no surprise there." But they are losing right now. They're losing to the San Francisco Giants, and there's a lot of history with San Fran and St. Louis over the years. They're losing 6-5 right now in San Francisco. Well, actually, no, they're home against San Francisco. Rather, I beg your pardon. 2 more games against the Giants this weekend, and then they're off Monday, and then they go on a long road trip starting Tuesday when they go up against the LA Dodgers for 3, and then they got to go to Colorado against the Rockies for 3. So a 6-game road trip, and then they come home to host the Dodgers on the 29th. So, yeah, so for now, Uncle Ed, Didi Woodson, and all you Cardinal fans out there, your team is number 4 for now. So with that being said, MF, let's have your number 4.
You know what? I just thought about it, and I started thinking with everything that you were talking about, Anthony, and I just realized that I'm not going to be able to give you a full 10, so I got to do some reshuffling here. The tie that I have has to be eliminated, so I'm eliminating the tie that I had. I think I had at number 8. So my new power rankings now goes as follows. And I'm going to start it out. Because like I said, I am reshuffling the deck on this. So with that said, and this is the newer power ranking that I'm doing. So I've reshuffled it. My number 10, I'm going to start out, is the LA Angels of Anaheim. That is confirmed. I'm not going to switch on that. My number 9, I'm actually going to agree with you and go with Colorado. 8, Dodgers. 7, I'm going to go with the Tampa Rays. Number 6, I'm going with is Arizona. Number 5 is going to be the Minnesota Twins, which means number 4 is going to be the St. Louis Cardinals. I'm going to actually give St. Louis number 4. I'm with you on that one as well. Basically, like I said, I had to do a reshuffle because when I started looking at it, I realized, I'm not going to have a full 10. So plus with all the other teams out there that's been very lackluster, yeah, I had to reshuffle the deck. So my number 4 is the St. Louis Cardinals. So Michael Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, I gotta do the same thing as well with mine. I mean, I pretty much have the same thing that Fletcher has, and yeah, of course, number 4 obviously would be St. Louis. So yeah, so there's really nothing more to say. So let's move on to number 3, Fletch.
Onward to number 3, and this is actually pretty easy to call. It is the Houston Astros. 8-2 in the last 10. Well, actually, should I do it? Should I? You know what? Okay, hotter streak, better play in the last 10. Yeah, all right. I was so looking at Milwaukee and thinking, should I? And because overall record, it looks like Houston's better, but no, that street, that big L is hanging over the heads. I can't do it. All right, Houston Astros is number 3. Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, if Houston had won tonight, then I probably would put them at number 2 and Milwaukee at number 3. But because Houston lost tonight, I have to put them at number 3. So Houston Astros is at number 3. Florio, what's yours?
And I think this top three is where we're going to patch things up right here and now after that blow up from earlier. Number three, no doubt about it, it is the Houston Astros. You guys got that one right, no doubt about it. They did lose tonight to the American League champion Cleveland Indians at home. But despite that, they still have the best record in baseball, 29-13. 6.5 game lead over the Texas Rangers, who's the next closest to them. But the 8-2 in the last 10. I mean, since they're second in ERA, of course, we all know why they're second in ERA. Dallas Keuchel, Lance McCullers, hello. There's no doubt about that. Third in team batting average, fourth in runs scored. The only problem is they're 20th in home runs allowed. They got to stop giving up those long balls. That's all I can say. Since our last rankings, they took 3 out of 4 from my New York Yankees at Yankee Stadium. They won on Thursday and Friday. Saturday they were rained out, and then they had a day-night doubleheader. They lost the first game, but then they won the second game, which spoiled that unforgettable and awesome Derek Jeter retirement ceremony, which was one of the greatest things I've ever seen in my life. Definitely brought a tear to my eye after seeing that and all the great Yankee memories. And then how does Houston follow that up? Oh, not much. They go into Miami, absolutely pound the Miami Marlins. They kicked the door down at Marlins Park and made themselves right at home. To the tune of outscoring them in those 3 games, gentlemen, 22-4 in that 3-game sweep. 22-4. Yeesh. They were off yesterday, and then Cleveland got them tonight. And without a doubt, if Houston doesn't lose to Cleveland tonight, it would have been a flip-flop between them and our number 2 team. 2 more games against the Indians this weekend, and then they got the Detroit Tigers coming in for 4 starting Monday. And then next weekend, a big 3-game series with the Baltimore Orioles, including a Saturday night baseball game on Fox. And I believe we're actually getting that game in our area, you guys. So Orioles and Stros next Saturday night. We're getting Angels and Mets tomorrow, for those of you wondering. And this is and for you Astros fans out there, not a good way to start off this 10-game homestand. Not a good way to start off of a 10-game homestand, which goes up until May 29th when they have to go to Minnesota to take on the Twins. So we'll see what happens. But Dallas Keuchel, Lance McCullers, that pitching staff, that's why they're number 2 in ERA. The batting average, they're 3rd in that and 4th in runs scored. Two young men that you got to keep an eye on for. Of course, Jose Altuve, who is the star of that team. And let's also not forget another young talent with superstar potential, Carlos Correa. You got to keep an eye on that young man as well. And then you've also got, you got a wily veteran on that team as well, the great Carlos Beltran. And I think he's discovering the fountain of youth, no doubt about it. So that's all I can say on that. So my number 3, it is the Houston Astros. We move on to number 2, and now this is definitely where the rubber's going to meet the road.
I'll take this.
All right, Bullock, who's number 2?
Yeah, like I just mentioned, it is the Milwaukee Brewers.
Yes, sir.
I mean, they are my number 2 team. They beat the defending World Series champions today, 6-3. In their ballpark. They're now 25-18 overall. 8-2 in their last 10. They've won 4 in a row. I've liked what I've seen from this Milwaukee Brewers team. I mean, Eric Thames. What can you say about him? A .313 batting average with 13 homers and 20. Oh, pulled up the wrong. And 25 runs batted in, but leading the way for the Brewers in RBIs is former Red Sox third baseman Travis Shaw. He's been a nice addition to the team. Ryan Braun's got 7 home runs, and Eric Thames has basically been the surprise story. Of course, leads the team in batting average, home runs, runs scored with 39, OBP, slugging percentage, and OPS. While Travis Shaw like I said, leads the team in RBIs, hits, and doubles. And the pitching has been really good. I mean, Chase Anderson leads the team in ERA with a 3.43 ERA, and Willie Peralta and Davies both lead the team in wins with 5. Neftali Feliz has 8 saves. So so basically a nice win for them. They got 2 more with the Cubs, both being a Saturday afternoon game, Saturday and Sunday afternoon, an off day on Monday, and then a brief 2-game set against Toronto, and then a 4-game set against Arizona next weekend. So so if they continue to play well, they could remain in the top 2, maybe go higher. But all in all, I really like what I've seen from them. So Milwaukee Brewers is my number 2. Florio, it's yours.
Absolutely spot on, Bullock. It is the Milwaukee Brewers at number 2, 25-18, the leaders of the NL Central. Can you believe that? They lead the NL Central, not the Cubs, not the Cardinals, the Milwaukee Brewers. Unbelievable. 8-2 in the last 10 games, winners of 4 in a row, second in runs scored. They're 10th in batting average, and they're 12th in both ERA and home runs allowed. I mean, here's a team that's come out of nowhere. But then again, our number 1 team also literally came out of nowhere, as Gorilla Monsoon would say. I mean, Bullock ran it down. I mean, 3-game sweep of the Mets, followed that up by winning 3 out of 4 from San Diego, and then going into Wrigley Field and beating up on the Cubs. I mean, very big deal there. They play them 2 more times this weekend in Wrigley, and then they're off Monday, and then they get a brief 2-game interleague series with the Toronto Blue Jays, or as I call them, the disappointing Toronto Blue Jays. Boy, have they disappointed me this year, especially after what happened in Atlanta. I'm not even going to get started on that. 4 games, and then they have the Arizona Diamondbacks coming in for a 4-game series starting Thursday, and that's got major power ranking implications right there. So that's all I can say on that. I mean, Bullock ran down pretty much, the guys to watch for. Eric Timms, I mean, he was on a white-hot streak. I haven't heard much from him since. I mean, he had that unbelievable streak where he was on this home run tear. But that young man is the reason why this team is playing very well. And, it's been a long time since we've actually had a reason to take this team seriously. And if they keep doing what they're doing, we just may have a reason to do so. So, Milwaukee Brewers, wow. And I'm pretty sure Bob Uecker still works for them, and I'm sure Bob Uecker's got to be delighted with what's going on right now. The original Mr. Baseball. So, he's not Harry Doyle from the Major League movies when it comes to that. No doubt about it. I mean, they're winners right now, and question is, can they hang on to that? Can they do that for the rest of this season? So I mean, he always likes to say, get up, get out. When it comes to his get up, get out of here, gone. Yeah, he's had a reason to do that. So that's all I can say about that. So that was for you, Mr. Baseball. So number 2, Milwaukee Brewers. We got a winner. MF, how about this? How about the Brew Crew lately? You believe this?
Brew Crew, man, pass out the beers to everybody. Give them a whole bunch of Miller Lights and everything else. They're going nuts, man. They're going nuts, and they've been having one heck of a season. No doubt about it. Much love to the Brew Crew on this. Man, if it wasn't for the number 1 team, who's been really killing it lately, this would have been number 1. But let me tell you, man, They've been unbelievable. They've been playing great lately. They're right there. They're right in the thick of it too, man. So, you got the wild card looking pretty nicely for them. Not only that, but when you knock off the defending world champions, always a big deal as well. And with that win, they've actually put themselves out there, man. They got a nice little cushion, 2 games up on Dede Woodson and Kevin Woodson, St. Louis Cardinals, 3 games up on the and 3 games ahead of and I should say, and 3 games ahead of Matt Ward's world champion Chicago Cubs. So, I mean, you got a nice little cushion there. Of course, you want to win the next few games because this is a big series going to Wrigley Field playing the world champions. But if you can get 2 out of 3 out of here, you're in good shape. You're in very good shape. So, yeah, Milwaukee's been walking that fine line lately. There was a couple of times where they had a couple of good games, then they slipped up a little bit. But lately, they've been red hot. I'll even openly admit they've been red hot. But there's one team out in the AL West, and they kind of stumbled out of the gates, but it looks like they finally got their legs under them. And if they finally are like completely all together and clicking on all cylinders, look out, American League. That's all I'm saying. It's time for number 1. And I believe, Florio, you get the honor? Or who gets it?
Yeah, he does, because I let off on number 2.
Yeah, actually, yeah, it is you. All right, kid. Number 1. Tony, it's yours.
Yeah, Florio, you there?
Oh, I forgot to unmute my mic. Oh boy. I guess I'm still reeling from the big blow up we had earlier this evening, but it is what it is. But yep, only fitting that I start off at number 1 here, considering that I am the Mr. Baseball of the panel here. There's no doubt about it. Number 1, hottest team in baseball right now. Winners of, get this, 10 in a row. Obviously 10-0 in the last 10 games. Of course, it's the Texas Rangers. My Lord, the Texas Rangers, 23-20. Even though they're 6.5 games behind Houston for first in the West, they're the hottest team. They haven't lost a game since May 8th. When they lost 5-1 to San Diego. But since then, from May 9th on, they have not lost a game. And that was part of a 4-game interleague series with the Padres. One of those unique series where it starts. They do it. It's one of those 2-2 series. The first 2 games of that series were in San Diego, and then the other 2 games were in Texas. And Texas won the final 3 games. They lost the first game, but then they won the other 3 games, and they pounded the Padres to the tune of 20-5 in those 3 games. And then they followed that up with a 3-game sweep of the Oakland Athletics at home. They were off on Monday, and then another 3-game sweep, this time by the Philadelphia Phillies in an interleague series. Outscored those guys 22-8 in that stretch. And then they go into Detroit, and they beat the Tigers 5-3. And this is the start of a very long road trip for the Rangers. Good way to start it off. This is the start of a 9-game road trip. They get 2 more games in. They're in Detroit for 2 more against the Tigers. Saturday night baseball on Fox, and Sunday night, Michael Bullock, your Sunday night baseball. Although you're going to have something else to watch because of a certain pay-per-view event and WWE Network special that's going to be going down, which MF's going to have some details on when we get to him in just a little bit, when we wrap it up. They're off on Monday.
And I can finally watch it on my TV.
Absolutely. And then the Rangers are off on Monday, and then Oh, Michael Bullock, may God have mercy on your soul, because your Red Sox have to play them starting on Tuesday. 3-game series at Fenway Park. Good luck. You're going to need it. And then following that on Friday, next Friday, the 26th, they go up to Sky Dome, Rogers Center, whatever you want to call it. I still call it Sky Dome, in Toronto against the Blue Jays. And then they finally come home on the 29th when they host the Tampa Bay Rays. So they are 5th in ERA. They're 7th in runs scored. They're 21st in home runs allowed. 25th in batting average. So you believe this team right now, guys? I mean, I am very impressed. I mean, like MF said, they stumbled out of the gate. They were 13-20 as of just about 2 weeks ago. But then, May 8th was their last loss when they lost in San Diego to the Padres. But since then, they have not tasted a defeat. They've won 10 in a row. And they're starting to flex their muscle like the Texas Rangers of old. Remember those old Ranger teams in the 90s? Remember how dangerous those teams used to be, with Juan Gonzalez and Pudge Rodriguez and Rafael Palmeiro?
They're reminding me of the team that went all the way to the World Series and almost won it all. Like they're starting to look like that team managed by Ron Washington I think it was 4 or 5 years ago where they made the World Series?
It was 6 years ago, 2011.
Oh, 6 years ago. Yep. That's it.
Yeah, 6 and 7 years ago, because you remember they made back-to-back World Series appearances in 2010 and 2011. Lost both of those years to the two dominant teams in the National League at the time, of course, the San Francisco Giants and St. Louis Cardinals, respectfully. And of course, who will ever forget Game 6 of that 2011 World Series, which I still consider to this day the greatest game I ever saw. Even though Game 7 of the last World Series makes a very strong argument, but that's a story for another day. But there's no need for an argument. There's no need for a major brouhaha blow up like we had earlier. I mean, there is absolutely no ifs, ands, or buts on this one. So the Texas Rangers, I mean, and I would love to see this team do well. I really would. I mean, they're one of the best teams to never win the World Series. And I honestly thought in 2011 they were going to win the World Series. And but St. Louis proved me wrong. And we all know how that turned out. So let's see how long they can keep it up. Can they keep it up? I mean, Detroit, middle of the road team. And I believe Cabrera just got injured. So you may not have to worry about Miguel Cabrera for a little bit. So that'll definitely help the cause. But we'll see about Detroit. But the Boston series, though, that definitely intrigues me. I mean, I can't wait to see what happens when the Rangers go into Fenway against Bullock's Red Sox, because I know Bullock's Red Sox are going to give the Rangers one hell of a try. There is no ifs, ands, or buts on that. So, of course, players you need to watch for on this team. I mean, what else is there to say? I mean, look at this. Elvis Andrus, I mean, he's the spark plug of that team. Everybody knows that. Mike Napoli, remember him? Party at Napoli's, remember him? He's getting going. Nomar Mazara, that's a young man you got to watch for. Shin-Soo Choo, Joey Gallo. And then on the pitching side, how about Yu Darvish? Yu Darvish is definitely, making an early case for a Cy Young Award if he keeps doing what he's doing. I mean, he's the ace of the staff, no doubt about it. And that's really all there is to say on that. So that's really all there is to say. And you got a solid closer and Matt Bush. And of course, Darvish is, the star of the staff. And of course, you got the veteran Cole Hamels, who you remember from those great Philly teams. And let's not forget about AJ Griffin. AJ Griffin, who's 4-0 right now. I mean, I love what I'm seeing out of that. So Griffin and Darvish and Hamels, that's a very dangerous 3-man rotation right there. And then you have a solid bullpen. Of course, Bush is the leader because he has the saves, and Leclerc and Claudio and Cashner. I mean, they've won 10 in a row. Let's see if they can keep it up tomorrow and they're going to be on the primetime stage the next 2 nights. Saturday Night Baseball on Fox, wherever you are in that area. We're not getting that game. We're getting the Angel Met game, like I said. And then Sunday Night Baseball. Let's see what happens on ESPN on Sunday Night Baseball, which has been a hot spot lately with some good stuff lately. That Yankee Cup thriller from a couple weeks ago, and then, of course, that emotional and moving Derek Jeter ceremony. So let's see what this Sunday night has in store. So no doubt about this. They're number 1 with a bullet. It's the Texas Rangers. Keep it up. That's all I can say. Keep it up. MF, how about it?
Agreed. Yeah, Texas is number 1. No doubt in my mind. And speaking of blowing up and going off and, getting into dropping some gloves and fighting, and Derek Ferreira is opening up a can on Celtic fans and Boston Celtics after the wipeout they had tonight. I'm not going to go into full details, but let me tell you, man, if you thought what Michael Bullock and myself went through tonight, that's nothing to compare to what Ferreira's going right now. I mean, he is red hot, on fire, blazing hot. He is pissed, and he's going off. So, definitely whenever you're done with this, flip on Boston Sports Fan 84 because he is going in on the Celtics tonight. So nothing more to say. Yes, Texas Rangers are number 1. Like I said, they're starting to look like that World Series team of 6 or 7 years ago. If they keep playing it what they're playing, and if Houston starts to drop down, look out. I'm going to say it. Bad news for the American League. Everybody, you're on notice. So, Michael Bullock, it's yours.
Yep, Texas Rangers number 1, and so there's really nothing more to say. So so for it, let's just put a wrap on this. What has been a controversial night, to say the very least.
The most controversial night that I've ever been a part of in the history of this show. I mean, we've been doing this show over 5 years, and I honestly never expected what happened to happen tonight. I mean, oh boy. So, how do you follow that? So,
and one I'm not happy to be a part of.
Yeah, I don't blame you, Bullock. It's never easy to get into stuff like that. So, but anyways, it's water under the bridge. So that's gonna put an end to what will undoubtedly forever go down as the most controversial edition of Strictly Sports of all time. This on the midst of a year ago tonight, when Michael Bullock and I did that unsanctioned show that got us a lot of heat. So it'll be very interesting to see if any heat comes out of this. So with all that being said, it's time for our shout outs. So Bullock or MF, whoever wants to take it. I see Bullock's mic's already off, so I guess Bullock will start it off. So Bullock, let's have our shout outs and let's put an end to this controversial night.
Thank goodness. Of course, shout outs to all of our tremendous fans and viewers out there who continue to support our shows, whether it's this particular Raw or the Cerebral Smack Talk. And sorry you had to put up with the way we that you had to basically see us go on these. I mean, going off the way we did tonight at the beginning, and for me to walk off the way I did was, like I said, totally unprofessional on my part. And like I said, I apologize to the fans. I apologize to Florio and Fletch, and especially Derek Ferreira and the producers. So that's pretty much all I can say on that. And of course, shout outs to of course the First Lady Dee Woodson, and of course to Kevin Woodson and the rest of the Woodson family, and of course shout outs to all of our other super fans. You guys know who you are. To all of our friends from our high school days, you guys know who you are. All of our personalities from 6, 10, and 12, and our local personalities, and of course our friends from ESPN, Fox Sports, MLB Network, NFL Network, NHL Network, NBA TV, uh, CSN New England, uh, and Nesson, and of course our friends from the Road Show, of course former co-hosts Mary Larson and Megan Mooney, and of course the three current people on there: Will Gilbert, Brendan Kirby, and Michaela Johnson. So yeah, that's gonna do it for me. So I'm Mike Bullock. So until tomorrow night for our preview of Backlash on Fletcher's channel, Braves Fan 95. You know the routine. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw it up 424 style. Bye for now, and enjoy your Saturday. So, Fletch, it's yours.
Yes, indeed. First off, I want to say thank you to all the great fans out there for making the show as awesome as it is. And yes, I understand it was definitely controversial. I know a lot of tempers were flaring and everything else, but sometimes, it's like family, man. We are family. Sometimes we're gonna get into these family feuds, man. Sometimes there's times where we gotta drop gloves and we're gonna punch each other's in the faces. It's gonna happen. But at the end of the day, we love each other. We are brothers in arms, and that's what it's gonna be. Yes, things normally whenever you get heated debates like this, sometimes it happens. That's why I know it's even better when stuff like that happens because you don't really need as much as I know you guys are ashamed of it. And it was unfortunate. What stuff that happens definitely should not have happened. All right, I get that, but at the end of the day, we are all human beings. We're all gonna make things are gonna happen. You just gotta live through it, learn from it, move on. So that's what we're gonna do. And tomorrow night, we're gonna get a preview. It's the preview of Backlash. We're gonna do it. Now I'm kind of on the fence about either 10:30 or 11. But that's the time that I'm looking at. Now, what do you guys feel? 10:30, 11 o'clock. I'm good for either time.
Either is good for me. It depends on Bullock, though.
All right, Bullock, what's up? Bullock, you muted your mic, man.
Sorry about that. I thought I had it muted, but I guess I didn't. Yeah. When it comes to the review, 11's fine, but there's a possibility. I'm probably going to be out late, so I'll tell you this, Fletch.
Do you want now? I'm willing to give you more leeway because I don't have to go into work till like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and I know preview why because Didi Woodson's also coming because she just hit me up. She was wondering what time we were going to do this, so
if you could maybe start at midnight, and if I'm not home, maybe you guys could start and I could catch up. If that's possible, but if not, then
I'm down for midnight. I could do it. I also got to worry. I'm also worried about Didi, and I'm also worried about Anthony. I know you'll be fine because I know you don't have work, so I know you, and I know you're a night owl, so I know you would be good for midnight.
Yeah.
I'm wondering about Didi Woodson though because that's kind of. I think I might have to do I could maybe try 11:30. Furthest I could probably go 11:30 at the max. I might be able to start, but because like I said, I'm gonna have to touch. One of us is gonna have to get in touch with Didi Woodson and find out what her availability is. Because remember, and I know I don't want to keep you too late because I know you got church in the morning on Sunday.
That is correct.
I'm thinking 11:30. I can do that. but
Yes.
beyond, I
And,
don't know. Going to be,
and
I think.
and MF, when Bullock and I had that little phone call earlier this afternoon, he even went as far as to say that if he ends up being out late and he ends up missing the show, then he says, "Don't worry about it." Is that right, Bullock?
Yeah, that is correct.
All right.
If I end up not being on, then don't worry about it.
All right.
But I can guarantee you this: I will be on the recap show after Backlash.
All right. That's fine.
Okay.
After Backlash, we will start at 11. So I'm thinking let's do 11 tomorrow night. We do that. We start at 11. We'll go
Fair
from
enough.
there.
Yes.
And because if we're going to do the recap at 11, let's do the preview at 11. So 11 o'clock tomorrow night, BraceFan95, YouTube.com. Nothing more to say. Anthony, take it home.
All right, will do, fellas. And yes, before I get into my shout outs, don't go anywhere, YouTube. Let me just say it like this. As the host of this show, and I want to take this moment and, on behalf of MF and on behalf of Michael Bullock, that if there was anybody out there who was actually watching the show at that particular point in time, we do apologize for that, and I certainly do. I mean, I welcome debates on this show. I really do. I mean, I love when we get into debates, whether it's a controversial topic like Aaron Hernandez, or if it's power rankings, or a certain transaction, or a certain big event and whatnot. But as much as I love debates, the only thing I don't like is when they get overly heated. And I mean, a lot of these things do happen. I mean, MF just said it. I mean, it's a brotherhood, and you may think that it's all unicorns and rainbows all the time. Well, it's really not. I mean, sometimes, we do fight like brothers, and you saw that tonight. That was a brother fight right there. That was a brother fight right there. I'm not gonna kid you. I mean, I'm gonna be real honest with you. It felt like the end of an era from WrestleMania 28 with MF in the role of Triple H and Michael Bullock in the role of The Undertaker and me in the role of Shawn Michaels. Like the referee, the peacekeeper. I mean, we all remember how heated that fight was. But at the end of the day, it went from being one of the most heated fights of all time, and we saw how the three of them wound up helping each other out of the stage, and they embraced, and that's basically what we're doing right now. So we're having our end of an era embrace right there. So if anybody out there who was watching at that time was offended or appalled or anything of that nature, we certainly do apologize. I certainly did not mean for that to get out of hand like it did. And, it just really, that was heartbreaking. And, it is what it is. And don't worry, the debates, we're still going to have those debates. But I'm hoping that I can make a decree here and now that we don't let it get overboard to the point where somebody ends up walking out and leaving, even if it is only for like a couple of minutes. So I'm just very grateful that Michael Bullock came to his senses and allowed cooler heads to prevail, and I'm beyond proud of that. So Bullock, I commend you for that. I'm glad you came back when you did, even though it was, like Gorilla Monsoon said at WrestleMania 5, very unprofessional of you to storm off the way you did. But I'm glad you came back. Hey, Jesse Ventura came back, didn't he? And look what happened. WrestleMania 5, the commentary ended up being epic after that. So, and we had another great show here tonight, even with that controversy. So to all of you wonderful fans out there, on behalf of MF and Bullock and myself, we do apologize for that. And we promise you from the bottom of our hearts that something like that will never, ever happen again. As long as this show continues, we're gonna go out of our way. If we're gonna have debates, just one piece of advice, gentlemen: choose your words carefully. Period. And a quotation. and a statement. Done. So with all that being said, now let's move on to my shout outs here. Of course, special shout outs to all of our tremendous fans and viewers out there who continue to make our shows what they are. We appreciate it as always. You are the best fans in the world. You're really the best fans in the world if you still put up with us after that epic blow up tonight. So you really are the best fans if you put up with that. So so major shout out to all of you. Special shout out, of course, to the Twisted Angel and First Lady of the Wrestling Forum, Dee Dee Whitson, and the entire Whitson family. Of course, after their family emergency, I'm glad all is well with them again. Our other super fans, you know, Matt Ward, Jason Hicksonbaugh, Daniel Luttrell from the UK. Our other First Ladies, Kaiser Butler, Megan Silva, Lexi Calloway. Our other crew members, Tommy Souza, Eric Carrier, Jimmy Alden, Al Bradison, and Rob Parsons, and of course the man himself, Derek Ferreira, and I know how angry he was about what happened to the Celtics tonight. I certainly don't blame him. You know, it is what it is, and I wouldn't be surprised if he channeled his inner EDP 445 on that one. So, and of course, all of our television personalities, they know who they are: 6, 10, and 12, ESPN, MLB Network, NFL Network, NBA TV, NHL Network, the whole 9 yards, FS1. You know the story, and our friends from the Road Show, Will Gilbert, Brendan Kirby, and Michaela Johnson, and former co-hosts Megan Mooney and Mary Larson. My personal shout out to Julie Alexandria, Chantel McKay from the Golf Channel, Stata Sorrell, Lindsay McCormick, and I believe, and last but not least, of course, my wonderful church family at Oasis of Grace Ministries on 464 Silver Spring Street in Providence. If you need a church home, check them out. Exit 25 off Route 95. Sunday morning, 9 a.m. Bible study. Sometime after 10, the Sunday morning service. Wednesday nights at 7, Bible study. And as of now, I can confirm that next Saturday, May 27th, will be the church cleanup day. Saturday morning at 10. Next Saturday morning at 10 a.m. Not tomorrow Saturday, the Saturday following on the 27th. So if anybody can come down and volunteer and help us out, it would be greatly appreciated. And if I get any more details, I'll be sure to pass them on. But that's the big thing that's going on next Saturday morning. That's as of now. So if anything changes, I'll be sure to update that. So all right, that's it for that. So of course, future content coming up tomorrow night, 11 p.m. I guess that's now official. Join MF, myself, Dee Dee Whitson. We'll see about Bullock. Hopefully he'll be able to join us, but if not, no worries. But Bullock said he'll be with us Sunday night if his plans go, the way they do. So we're gonna preview Backlash tomorrow night, SmackDown Live exclusive event. MF will host that since it is a SmackDown Live event. We'll give a preview of all the matches with the exception of the kickoff match because we don't do that. We only do that for the major pay-per-views. I think that's the decree. We should put that. We only do kickoff shows we only do kickoff matches for the major events. That's the only way we should do that from now on, I think. And of course, that'll be tomorrow night, and then Sunday night following the pay-per-view, hop back on for Race Fan 95. We'll recap Backlash, and Bullock will be with us, myself, MF, and Dee Dee Woodson. And then Monday night, of course, we got Ridiculously Raw following Monday Night Raw. As we continue on the road to Extreme Rules, we'll review Monday Night Raw, and I'll also have my Tony's take on 205 Live and Impact Wrestling. Positive reviews for both shows, I'll tell you that right now, because I was very impressed with both shows this past week. And then Tuesday night, we got the Cerebral Smack Talk with MF. We'll sort out all the fallout from Backlash on SmackDown Live. And maybe he'll have a Mikey's Mindset. Hopefully he will. And we'll go into that. And then next Friday night, Strictly Sports. MLB Power Rankings. I know that for a fact. I don't know what's on the docket. Derek will probably have that for us on Sunday or Monday. But next Friday night, it's a very special night. Because next Friday night, gentlemen, happens to be our Imperial Grand Poobah's birthday. So you could consider next Friday's show as a special birthday tribute to Derek Ferreira, because it is Derek Ferreira's birthday next Friday, May 26th. So I think the best present we can give Derek, guys, is not only one of the best damn broadcasts we've ever done, but hopefully it'll be a drama-free broadcast, unlike that unfortunate incident that happened tonight. So let's let's not let what happened tonight happen again, especially next week, with the next week being Derek's birthday. I want to give him the best present, and the best present that we can give him, guys, is one of the best stand broadcasts we've ever done. So that'll be for you, Derek. So that's it. So until tomorrow night for our Backlash preview over on MF's channel, Bracefay 95. It is Anthony Florio here for Good Old MF Michael Fletcher, for the Phenom Michael Bullock, and of course, in spirit, Derek Ferreira and Edie Woodson. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw it up Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. And after tonight, oh, you better damn sure be good to each other now, especially after tonight. So have a blessed Saturday. Of course, big event tomorrow. Of course, the Preakness Stakes. We'll see if we get another shot of the Triple Crown here, or if it's going to be so-so as always. And then, of course, we'll preview Backlash, and that's the whole 9 yards. So until then, you know the routine, like I said, and until then, you've been watching the most controversial edition of Strictly Sports of all time, right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube.com. For now, Anthony Florio. So long.